Yeah, still keeping an eye on General Motors, beating on EPS, coming in at 135 versus 120, and the guidance going forward here looks like it's going to be 9.4 billion to 10.8 billion with regards to net revenue here. Shares higher here in after-hours trading, just by about 1.8%, according to my screen, though a little bit different there on your screen. Ed Ludlow joining us right now from San Francisco to help break it down. What's happening, Ed? Overall, the numbers look good. We didn't get a forecast or anything. It looks like we may have to wait on the conference call at 5 p.m. New York time to find out a little bit more about the company's longer-term outlook.
Yeah, I'm seeing shares bounce around in after hours, a little bit softer, 0.6%. Look, the fourth quarter story was well telegraphed, right? They missed on the top line, net sales coming in softer. The story there was semiconductors, a lack of, but they beat on the bottom line. Why? Because the consumer at the end of last year became accustomed to paying sticker price, higher prices, which boosted GM's bottom line. We actually do have some kind of guidance for this coming year. Full year 22, GM expects adjusted earnings before interest and taxes, adjusted EBIT of 13 to 15 billion dollars. That's a strong outlook because it would beat the record set in 2021. And here's the key thing, Romaine: an improving outlook for semiconductors in both the US and China as a big driver of strong results in 2022. But the market making its mind up.
Well, they're also having to mull over all of the billions of dollars, right, Ed, that this company's been investing. They put out their shareholder letter, and they say since 2020, we have announced investments totaling more than $14 billion in 10 sites across North America. It's all about upping that EV capacity, largely.
Yeah, and this is the difference between Tesla and Ford and General Motors, that they have to manage a transition from very profitable large pickup trucks and SUVs to a completely electric future. GM's EV volumes are very depressed right now because of the halt on production of the Chevy Bolt. We want to hear some more about that. I'm not seeing it on my screen. Reservations look good. More than 110,000 reservations have been placed for the Silverado EV pickup. That's not quite as strong as Ford and the Ford Lightning F-150, but they've had that product to market quicker, and it's been available for reservation for a longer period of time. So this is so competitive. Investors want the forward-looking, horizon-looking stuff. They just want the profit and financial stability in the near term too.
And talk to us, as they're touting, of course, these record earnings. This is a company that's having to weather an awful lot of increases, inflation inputs. How are they managing to weather that, not only on a supply chain basis, but also just a sheer, cost basis?
Yeah, I think that if there's one lesson of 2021, or at least the last 12 months, is that scale matters when you're dealing with supply chain bottlenecks, right? GM has a number of suppliers all over the world. Semiconductors has been a really dynamic spot because inventory levels have been really depressed. In other words, when an end user like an automaker receives a chip, it puts it straight into a finished good product. And they seem to have some command of that. But there's another way of looking at it, right? In the fourth quarter, GM lost its crown as top auto seller in US to Toyota. So you could say, well, hold on, if you were really impacted heavily by the semiconductors, and that's why this net sales figure missed that we got this afternoon, then perhaps their command of the supply chain isn't as strong, and Toyota were able to fail better, and that's why they pipped them to top spot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see just what kind of commitment they're making to this EV space. They did talk about deliveries of that GMC Hummer EV here and some of the reservations there, and saying the Cadillac Lyriq, the update here in that EV space, going to start shipping in about 60 days. Bloomberg's Ed Ludlow helping us break down the earnings there on General Motors. And